So for this segment, we are still looking at finding volume of an irregular shape, but in this segment, we're going to be looking at known cross section. So I'm going to tell you what the cross section is. It could be a square, it could be a triangle, whatever that might be. But before we start to that, I wanted to recap a little bit of what we looked at in the previous sections. So here's an AP type question that was featured in one of the years. A lot of times these do show up on free response type questions on the AP exam. And usually part A is always finding the area of the region itself. So part A is just a review of 6.1 lesson. So if I were to find the area, my bounds look like from 0 to 9. So if I were to answer part A, it'd be 0 to 9. And remember, when you're finding area, it's whatever the above function is minus the below function, and it's really from that vertical distance. And so in this case, it's the y equals 6 line minus the below function, which ends up being 2 square roots of x. It's going to be with respect to x. And so that would be the setup for finding the area. And notice for part B, it says write but do not evaluate the region rotated about the, in this case, y equals 7 line. And so notice y equals 7 is going to be above the region. And so if you rotate that, it looks like you get something that kind of looks like this. And the big thing you got to know is, since there's a gap involved and it's a horizontal line that we're rotating it about, that we're going to be doing things with respect to x, and since there's a gap, we're going to be integrating the washer technique, so big R squared minus little r squared here. And so the setup would still be, since we're doing things with respect to x, we're still going to be integrating from 0 to 9. So 0 to 9 is going to be my bounds. The smaller radius, or the bigger radius I should say, is going to be the vertical distance from the axis of rotation to the outer part of the region. And that vertical distance, if I did top minus bottom, ends up being, looks like the y equals 7 line minus the 2 square roots of x function. So that's going to be the bigger radius. And then the smaller radius is going to be this little line, which is the y equals 7 line minus the y equals 6 line. And so it'd just simply be 7 minus 6 there, or 1 if you want to do a simplify. And so the setup would be 0 to 9 of pi, bigger radius would be 7 minus 2 square roots of x squared, minus pi, and then it's going to be 7 minus 6 squared, or you can write that as 1 squared if you want. Notice this says write but do not evaluate, so this would be the setup, and we don't have to work that out here. So a little bit of recap of some previous sections here before we move on to strange shapes. So this is what I mean by strange shapes. So it says the base of a solid is the region enclosed by the square root of 25 minus x squared and the x-axis. So you can see that highlighted in blue there. And I'm telling you what the cross sections are. It says the cross sections, if I take it perpendicular, if I slice it perpendicular to the x-axis and you open up this object, that they are perfect squares. And so this is super hard to kind of imagine, but if I draw that segment here, what's sticking sort of out at you is a square. And so I'm trying to draw my best on three-dimensional drawings. But the point is to find volume, remember, we integrate the area of a cross-section. And since I'm telling you that the area of the cross-section is a square, looks like we're just going to be integrating the area of a square, which is the side length squared. And so really we just have to determine what the side length is, because notice the bounds, since again it's perpendicular to the x-axis, the bounds are going to be with respect to x. So in this case my bounds are going to be from -5 to 5. And then we just have to find the side length of the square. And if the side of the square is lying on the region, then that side of the square is going to be that vertical distance. And remember, when we do vertical distance, it's the top function minus the bottom function. And so in this case, that side length squared ends up being just the function itself minus the 0 line, because y equals 0 is going to be that x-axis there. But the setup here would just be from -5 to 5, square root of 25 minus x squared, squared. That would be the setup. And so if you fully work this out, the square will get rid of the square root for you, and really it just ends up being a nice fluffy reverse power rule. But this is the setup for cross sections of a square. And so let's take a look at really the four main shapes that we'll run across with these strange shapes that we call. So a lot of the ones that you just need to know is like what we looked at before. So cross sections are squares. You could have isosceles right triangle where you're integrating 1/2 base times height. The cross section could be semicircles where you're integrating 1/2 pi r squared. Or the cross sections are rectangles, so the area of a rectangle is just base times height, and usually it tells you sort of what the height is with respect to the base. So we're going to be looking at the same problem or same region, and we're going to look at a variety of shapes here for this segment. And so this is a good three-dimensional picture of really what we're going to be looking at and finding the volume of. So notice in the first part it's y equals x squared from 0 to 1. And so if you notice, that's what it would look like with squares there sticking out at you. So you get that three-dimensional shape here. This is what it would look like for isosceles right triangles sticking upright on you, at you. And then semicircles obviously is this one, and then the rectangle there is in blue. But this gets you an idea of sort of what we're looking at as far as the three-dimensional shape of what we're constructing. So let's get back to the setup for each of these. So the first case is cross sections are squares. And so remember, since it's with respect to the x-axis, that we are going to be doing things with respect to x, so dx here. And so the bounds are still going to be from 0 to 1 because the region met at the origin. So the bounds are 0 to 1. And since it's a square, we're going to be integrating s squared dx. If you looked at that region that we were looking at, it's really the area underneath x squared from 0 to 1. And so the square, one of the side length is going to be that distance, so top minus bottom would be the x squared minus 0 function. So the side length itself is going to be x squared minus 0. It's that vertical distance. So in this case, it's just integrating x to the fourth. But this is the setup for a square. And so let's now look at what the setup would be for isosceles right triangle. And so if I did isosceles right triangle, the setup, since it's a triangle that we're working with, the setup would be the area of a triangle, so 1/2 base times height. Usually it's assumed that whatever the congruent side is, the lying on the region, that the height is exactly the same. So if we take a look at that region again, 0 to 1 of x squared. Since it's perpendicular to x-axis, then we know that we're going to be doing things with respect to x, so the bounds are still 0 to 1. And the distance there of one of the congruent bases ends up being that same distance as x squared minus 0 function, and that ends up being the exact same as the height. And so the setup would be 0 to 1, 1/2. The base is going to be that vertical distance, x squared minus 0. And the height's assumed that that's the same. And so it ends up being 1/2 x to the fourth once you work that out. But this is the setup for isosceles right triangle. And for semicircle, since it's a semicircle, and again, with respect to x, the area of a semicircle ends up being 1/2 pi r squared. So that's the area of a semicircle, so that's what we're going to be integrating. The bounds are still 0 to 1. And if I sketch that region again, the diameter of the semicircle that's kind of sticking out at you ends up being that whole entire distance. So the radius ends up being half of that distance. And so in this case, the diameter would be x squared minus 0. So then the radius itself would be x squared divided by 2. Because it's going to be half that distance. So this is the one where you kind of got to be slightly careful. But the setup here would be 0 to 1, 1/2 pi, and then it'd be x squared over 2 squared dx. If you had to fully work this out, I would factor out that 1/2 pi out of the integral first, and then just expand that term to be x to the fourth divided by 4, or 1/4 x to the 4th, because then you just have to do reverse power rule if you had to work it out by hand. But this is what the setup would be for a semicircle. And for the last shape, rectangle. For a rectangle, again, perpendicular to the x-axis, so it's going to be with respect to x, but since it's a rectangle, we're integrating base times height. The bounds are still 0 to 1, since it's referring to the same region here. And that base of the rectangle says it's lying on the region, so the base itself is going to be that vertical distance, which ends up being top minus bottom, so x squared minus 0. And it says the height is half of that of the base. And so if I set it up, it's going to be 0 to 1. The base ends up being x squared minus 0. And the height ends up being half of that, or half of just x squared. And so if you fully simplified this, it'd be 0 to 1 of, looks like 1/2 x to the 4th. And then after that, I would factor out a 1/2 and just dealing with a reverse power rule of x to the 4th. But this is the setup for if it was a rectangle. So we went through all 4 shapes, but I want to check quickly for understanding for this topic. So see if you can try this one on your own. We got a different region, so you might have to determine the bounds first, so setting those equations equal to each other. Notice it's perpendicular to the x-axis here, so we just need to do things with respect to x. But you can pause the video and try this one out on your own, and we'll go over the answer here in a few seconds. Good luck. So to get an idea what this looks like, we have y equals x plus 1, so that's just a linear function, positive 1, y-intercept. And then x squared minus 1 ends up being a parabola. And so this is the region that we're referring to. So the first step would be finding the bounds. And so if I set those two equations equal to each other, it's a quadratic function, so if I move everything to the right side, looks like I'd subtract x and then subtract 1. So it'd be -2, and that is factorable. That factors into x minus 2, x plus 1. So where they meet are, looks like at x equals -1 and x equals +2. And so -1, +2, those are my bounds. And so the setup here, since we're dealing with semicircle, it's going to be -1 to 2 of the area of a semicircle, so 1/2 pi r squared, and it's dx. And so remember, when they're semicircles, the diameter is what's lying on that region, so they're little semicircles kind of sticking out at you there. And so the radius then would be that the diameter would be the distance top minus bottom here. So diameter ends up being, looks like, the x plus 1 function minus the x squared minus 1 function. And so the radius is going to be half of that. So if I simplify the diameter a little bit, that ends up being -x squared, looks like plus x minus 2. And the radius is going to be half of that. So the overall setup would be from -1 to 2, 1/2 pi. And since the diameter is -x squared plus x minus 2, the radius is going to be half of that. And don't forget to square it because it's 1/2 pi r squared. And so this ends up being the setup for the semicircle. If you had to fully work this out, I definitely would factor out the 1/2 pi out of the mix. And if you square 1/2 down below, you can actually factor out a 1/4 out of the expression as well. And you just have to worry about kind of expanding that trinomial there, and it just ends up being a nice reverse power rule in the end if you had to fully work it out. So this concludes our big lesson on 6.2. I know it was a lot of lesson parts and a lot of videos to watch on this, but try your best on the homework. It's posted on the homepage, and don't forget to reach out for the homework help if you have any questions about any of these problems. Good luck and enjoy the rest of your day.